In the late 90s and early 2000s, Tony Hawk was making waves, but I was all about Jet Set Radio. Jet Set Radio, known in the States as Jet Grind Radio, was conceptualized by Ryuta Ueda. He wanted to make a game that was Sega-like, and if you knew Sega back then... The point is, Sega was targeting the rebellious youth culture of the day. Extreme sports like skateboarding were in, and while aggressive inline skating wasn't as popular in the States, it still exuded that counterculture of the time. And what's even more rebellious than extreme sports? Graffiti! No, seriously, you could get arrested for this shit. So include it. Jet Set Radio fused the graffiti and b-boying elements of hip-hop culture with extreme sports. And what you had was something uniquely original, fresh, and... I prefer the second game. Jet Set Radio Future! Jet Set Radio was born on the Dreamcast in 1999, but with the Dreamcast discontinued in 2001, and Sega no longer creating consoles, a reimagination of the franchise, Jet Set Radio Future was released to the Xbox in 2002. Don't get me wrong, both were great games, but let's explore just what made Jet Set Radio Future so special.
Oh, goddamn.
Graffiti is art. However, graffiti as an act of vandalism is a crime. This is an actual warning that starts at the beginning of the game. Nobody would give a shit today, but video games were still under some pretty harsh scrutiny for everything back then. And besides, it's not like a game about tagging up rival gangs' turf with your graffiti mimicked real-life gang culture or anything like that. And it's straight to our title screen, featuring the song Concept of Love by Hideki Naganuma and stylistic cel-shaded graphics. Between the incredible soundtrack primarily featuring Naganuma's music, fusing hip-hop and dance elements, and the cel-shaded characters, this game exuded style and personality. This transcended into the characters like Korn. What is this? What is this? Now I know where Ethan of H3H3 got his inspiration. Also, Korn? His name is Korn? Is that supposed to somehow be hip and cool? Yeah, I want to be named after the golden nuggets found in shit. Actually, I kinda do. Korn, whatever, is part of the GGs, the hippest cats around and the gang that you'll be controlling throughout the game. This is the GG's Garage. Hey, where's our pizza? Oh? Is GG short for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Is that what this is? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 5 Jet Set Radio Turtle? Because I would be so down for that. Turtle power. So you start off playing as Yo-Yo, the hip cat who wants to join the GGs. And your first mission? To find the other founding GG, Gum, who will test out our skills. Skill test 1. To jump. Really? That's it? Because jumping's so hard. You also learn one of your most important skills, how to tag a wall with graffiti by pressing a single button, which is one of the major ways Jet Set Radio Future varied from its predecessor, Jet Grind Radio. Outside of having a different artistic style to Jet Set Radio Future, the original game had a heavier emphasis on graffiti. Players would have to follow along with directional inputs as if you were actually tagging the walls yourself. Jet Set Radio Future instead opted to be more about grinding and performing combos, with far more tricks and combos players could perform. By pressing the X button as you're grinding or in the air, you can continually perform more tricks and combo up, while Y allows you to perform harder tricks and switch the direction you're facing as you skate. It's simple but effective, and the entire game is designed around this mechanic. So, now that you've got the knowledge, time for DJ Professor Jesus Christ! It looks like Dennis Rodman if his face got smashed in by a train and DBZ fused with Christopher Lloyd's hair.
Great Scott.
So this is DJ Professor K, looking distinctly, worse than from Jet Grind Radio, and the leader of the underground radio station,
Jet Set Radio.
He explains that Rikaku Goji, or basically just the man,
was using his money and influence to mess with everything. Industry, society, and even our culture. And he's even got his eyes set on City Hall.
And he bought the police, and they only accept their culture, and they just want to make money. So, there you go. It's the rebellious youth against The man. But at the moment, you, the GGs, are in the middle of a turf war. I chose to play as Gum, for obvious reasons, because who wants to play as Corn? Your first mission takes you to Dogenzaka Hill, where someone has been spreading rumors about the GGs, so it's prime time to tag up the turf and claim it as your own. Here, you'll finally get a real feel for what the game is all about. The course mostly has you traveling downhill with several rails you can grind and trick on as you collect graffiti cans in order to spray all of the locations shown on your map. It's a light introduction to the basic mechanics and shows the fun of comboing grinds while tagging Beat! Beat! Alright, listen. Jet Set, Grind, Radio, whatever. Feature Beat is the main character of the game. Someone who looks kinda normal and, more importantly, not like this. Not only does he not look like Corn, but more importantly, his name isn't Corn! Beat was also featured on the cover to both games, and after playing Jet Grind Radio, the character I was looking forward to unlocking the most. Beat introduces you to the primary method for unlocking characters, which is by finding them and subsequently besting them at a challenge. For Beat, that involves following him on specific paths throughout the area and proving you're on the same level as him, then beating him in a race through Dogenzaka Hill. And for beating Beat, Beat joins up with the GGs. Dance party! Oh, and you also get attacked by the cops. Which is the other main element of the franchise. The cops are constantly hunting you down, and after completing certain events, will show up to try and arrest you. So, time to get them back, by spraying toxic graffiti on them. Yup. Rock beats scissor, scissor beats paper, graffiti beats gun. Makes sense to me. But enough of the cops, it's on to more important things, like the fact that gang Poison Jam has whack as fuck graffiti, so it's time to cover it up with your own and claim their turf as yours. To do so, you'll explore more areas of the city and cover up their shitty graffiti with some real shit. No, you see, I was being literal. Yeah! You see, Jet Set Radio Future includes collectathon aspects to the game, which aren't limited to just collecting characters, but also extends to collecting graffiti souls throughout the various levels of the game. For finding a graffiti soul, you'll unlock new graffiti you can use to tag the levels. But you're not only limited to the in-game graffiti, but can also create your very own graffiti. It's perfect. As you go on your turf war with Poison Jam and chase them around, the police and their leader, Captain Hayashi, will up the ante to try and kill you? I'm just saying, motherfucker has a gun. Isn't that a bit of overkill for some graffiti? Oh, okay. Hey, yeah, I can't catch the rollerblading graffiti kids, so pull out the tanks. And yes, logically, spraying graffiti on tanks destroys them. I sprayed poop on it. In further chasing down Poison Jam, you'll arrive at Rakakudai Heights, a level filled to the brim with telephone poles, and the primary area that will introduce you to the fact that you can grind vertically, which is a big part of what makes the new emphasis on grinding and combos such a fun mechanic. All the levels, especially as you get further into the game, have a heavy emphasis on incorporating vertical level design. So you'll be grinding up telephone poles, grinding down telephone wires, jumping onto rails, and grinding up chimneys, all while tricking and comboing, and just maybe spraying a healthy dose of graffiti. It's brilliantly done, with each level becoming a unique playground at your disposal. On top of this, by finding a hidden mixtape in each level, you'll unlock challenges to complete in each level, usually involving racking up the highest score or doing a certain amount of trick combos. These will, in turn, unlock hidden graffiti souls for you to find and collect. So, while on the surface, Jet Set Radio Future is a game about fighting the man and tagging up turf, the game goes into great depths to make each area as replayable as possible, rewarding you for exploring every nook and cranny. And because you're rewarded for performing tricks and comboing them, you're constantly engaged, even when you're grinding on longer rails. This design continues on to 99th Street, where you'll grind up a giant dragon, and the home to another rival gang, Rapid 99. They offer to help you find Poison Jam's headquarters, and is this all you do? All day? And why do they all look the exact same? Is this a group of triplets? Are Poison Jam triplets? I feel like the GGs are popular only because you don't have to be a triplet to be in the gang. Join the GGs. We'll accept you, even if your name is Corn. So it turns out Poison Jam resides in the sewers, and chasing them down will lead you to the most annoying area of the game, the Tokyo Underground Sewage Facility. Mainly because this area focuses on teaching you how to use half-pipes, which have absolutely obnoxious handling. While it's nice to have another toy at your disposal and way to get around, it's incredibly hard to control exactly which direction you're heading with any precision and becomes a tedious chore. Oh, excuse me. I didn't know the sewers were also home to Beanie Babies. Well, that makes sense at least. At the bottom of the sewers, you'll find Poison Jam's leader, Cube, and battle Poison Jam for... Oh wait, none of it matters. While you were busy being an asshole and tagging up the entire town with graffiti while terrorizing everybody, and no, I'm being serious here, you are the terror of the town. People scream and jump out of your way as you roll past or as you knock them to the ground. While you were busy with this, a new rival group of triplets, the Noise Tanks, have put the triplets, the Immortals, under their control, and Yo-Yo, your starting character, has disappeared and gone missing. Why couldn't it be Corn? Seriously, not even the bad guys want him. The Immortals reside in the Skyscraper District, which is the point where the game turns it up a notch. The area focuses more on ramps and wall jumps as you'll jump from skyscraper top to skyscraper top, graffitiing the tops of buildings. You'll have to be precise and utilize every tool in your arsenal, grinding, half-piping, and speed boosting, as you discover DJ Professor K is a dick.
Sayonara!
There's no two ways about it here. You have just died, and DJ Professor K is laughing at you. Laughing! Is the Immortal sleeping in the coffin, or what? Come on, DJ Professor K. You're a professor. You should know proper grammar. Is them Immortals sleeping in the coffins. Go and conquer Hikage Street, Kibogaoka Hill, and the Skyscraper District while these mummies are sleeping. Don't tell me what to do! This leads you through Hikage Street and Kibogaoka Hill, where...
Dave, what are you doing?
I'm gonna watch the world burn. At last, after tagging up all of the Immortals' graffiti, they awaken and escape to Highway Zero, where it turns out they're going to sacrifice Yo-Yo. So, you know what that means. Spray them with your deadly graffiti and fall into a trap. Turns out Yo-Yo has double-crossed you and joined sides with the Immortals and therefore Noise Tanks, who capture you and take you to the future site of the Tokyo Rokkaku Stadium, where you're forced into playing Death Ball. So, what sort of twisted shit is Death Ball, I hear you asking? It's a demented race through the stadium where you pass the ball back and forth between teammates and have to finish a full lap without the opposing team stealing the ball from you. Oh yeah, and there's no death. In fact, it actually seems like a pretty fun game. I think the Immortals and Noise Tanks just captured you because they don't have any friends to play with. Of course, none of it really matters because the police raid the games with their terror drones, which in turn leads to your escape, you needing to chase Yo-Yo down, and the Noise Tanks to go crazy and start rioting, who apparently you're supposed to exterminate? So, remember how the GGs are the good guys, graffitiing up the town, driving terror into the hearts of the local denizens, and literally blowing up rival gangs? Because that is what you do! That is what you do in this game! After getting your kill on, you'll track Yo-Yo down to the Sky Dinosaurian Zone, where you'll discover that this is the greatest area in the game. You're in a giant roller coaster amusement park with attractions towering up amidst the tops of skyscrapers, and you'll travel to all of these rides along the main course, which is a giant set of roller coasters you'll be grinding along as you attempt to set some tags, find collectibles, and fight off the Noise Tanks. Oh yeah, and it turns out that the evil Yo-Yo is fake and a disguised Noise Tank, which I don't think anybody really cares about. Do you care? Because I certainly don't. Jesus Christ! Well, I guess it's not any worse than what I've been doing. As it turns out, the Noise Tanks were cyborgs built by the Rokkaku to control street culture, I guess. And with their failure, the Golden Rhinos, an elite group of Rokkaku, have been sent after the GGs with multiple highly trained assassins. Highly trained assassins sent to murder you. You'll also be able to access the fortified residential zone and the area where Yo-Yo is actually being held captive. The only problem being the Rokaku have rigged the entire building with timed bombs, and apparently the reason they hate you is because
you continue to cling to the sad notions of camaraderie and friendship, and because of it, your pitiful little lives will end in a grand display of fireworks.
Ah yes, friendship. Of course. Oh, and did I mention that in order to truly save Yo-Yo, you'll need to go against fighter jets with missiles? Because that is the thing. Screw rocket launchers, screw anti-air artillery, spray paint. Spray paint is all you need. Just get your little booty over to the store, pick up a can of spray paint, and you got yourself an artillery. Why even hire a military? I don't know. Spray paint. And for defeating the fire jet and saving Yo-Yo, it ain't over. Now the Golden Rhinos are sending out their elite. This includes a couple boss fights, such as Dr. Claw, who's actually the perfect villain for this sort of game. After he shoots his claw at you, it'll get stuck in the ground, allowing you to grind up to him and spray him down. It meshes with the gameplay perfectly and is exactly what you'd want out of a boss fight. Then there's Flamethrower Lady, she just shoots fire at you. Creativity! You'll also run across a Shadow Beat, throwing everybody off with how similar he looks to the real thing. Zero Beat! Can you not see it? Can you not see it? They're identical twins! Identical, I tell you, identical! With the defeat of Dr. Claw and Flamethrower Lady, DJ Professor K will get stolen by the Rokaku, which I am totally cool with. Not my friend, nope. But it turns out Rokaku Goji has finally brought his master plan to Shibuya Terminal, so I have to stop him anyways. You got lucky this time, DJ Professor K. It turns out Rokaku Goji wants to be referred to as
DJ Big Goji!
Trying to compensate for something there, buddy? He's also gone completely insane.
The name of this tower of ultimate beauty is... yeah, blibbity blah blah blah. The name is irrelevant!
Okay, that was actually pretty funny. Apparently, his plan involves blasting out his music nobody ever wanted to hear, and meanwhile, having his tower suck people in for whatever reason. So he's blasting out music he wants people to hear, but he's sucking people in so they can't hear it. So what is your plan? Like everyone else, you get sucked into the tower as well, where you'll have the chance to fight off against Goji, who can apparently turn into a giant robot, because why not? The fight involves you repeatedly ramming into him, until you can finally spray him down with graffiti. And with that, his tower blows up, maybe with everyone still inside. I mean, I don't really know. Or care. I don't know them. And the day is saved, except for all those dead people. Time to go back to setting graffiti bombs on other people's property, terrorizing the streets, and battling more gangs to unlock characters. While the story is goofy and fairly generic, the game oozes with style and is an absolute blast to play through. The game does a great job at making the city feel like a giant playground, and I can't give them enough props for incorporating both horizontal and vertical level design. That said, now that I know the streets, time to make a little art of my own.
I was just gonna...